we've got Blood Trail versus Dawn coming right up now, and this is a big one, mainly because this is going to have a heavy impact on the top 3, or at least that 3rd place spot, and maybe even the 2nd place spot, depending on everything that could go on.
Yes.
Mainly because Blood Trail and Dawn currently at 2nd place in Division B, and Blood Trail in the running for a 3rd place spot as well. So whoever wins, whoever loses, it's going to cause some ripple effects.
It is indeed, and very simply for this, even ignoring the effects for Tyler and Glory outside of it, if Dawn wins, he's locked in, Blood Trail loses, he's locked out.
Yep.
Very simple.
Yep, so let's take a look at the deck list and see what matchup we've got cooking right now. It's going to be another Hunter. Blood Trail's Beast Hunter, again, very similar to what we saw from blitzchung in the last game. And yeah, just a mid-range Beast Hunter that's going to start trying to push some damage. But a bit of a difference here, as we can check out Dawn's list in just a second, is he's going to be going up against Mage, and I feel it's a much nicer matchup for the Hunter than it is versus the Rogue.
I agree. It feels weird for me, who I think that Mage is the strongest deck at the moment. Not necessarily to bring 2 specialists, but overall power level, I think Mage is the best deck to bring at the moment. Sorry, best deck on the ladder, at least at the moment. Hunter, I think, is kind of at the bottom of the 4 powerhouse classes, I would say, just about. But it just lines up well against the Mage. If you can curve out early on with minions, I think that up against Dawn's Mage, which we can take a look at now, it's just curving out is good enough to get that damage in early on and to finish things off with kill command and hero power at the end.
Yeah, and Dawn on the Mage, I think has a decent build of it as well. He does have the Luna's Pocket Galaxy, has the Sandbinder as well. Just to help draw, just those consistent elementals, and we've talked a lot about Luna's Pocket Galaxy. Might not hit the value against Hunter specifically, as Hunter can go relatively fast versus Mage, but in general, I think this is just another one of those, good Mage deck build.
I fully agree. I think there's few cards that I would be that I think are missing from this list, or that don't deserve a spot, I suppose I should say, because all of these cards, you can understand why they put them in. I think the main one that I'm realizing, I like to see Frostbolt in there, I like to see Twilight Drake in there. The main one I really like to see is just Liliax. I think we've seen consistently from players that having no heal at all in the deck is just, it opens you up too much to burn plans, or even just your opponent curving out, because for Tom up against Frosty in our first series of the day, even though he ended up winning the series, the points at which it looked like he could lose was because he didn't have any heal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one card I do like in that build specifically for GM is just Harrison. Yeah. And yes, Blood Trail is only running 1 Headhunter's Hatchet in his main deck, and there are no sideboard Hatchet. If anything, his sideboard removes a Hatchet, depending on what deck he goes for. But I just think 1 weapon removal in the deck, just in your primary, is pretty good in a format where you're expecting Warrior Rogue. And yes, there's the mirror, fine. Yep. But even in the mirror, you find yourself on that turn 5 spot of sometimes being able to just play it as a minion that other mages can't.
And while for both of these players, this is very, very important for them to be trying to take the win, because both players could potentially not qualify if things go tremendously wrong for them, despite the fact that Dawn is at that 8-5 record. But man, I have to feel for Dawn here. He was at such a dominant start to Grandmasters, and he's just been losing and losing as it goes on. Him and Glory both were the very clear 2nd and 3rd favorites. And for Glory even more so, but still for Dawn, it's just been a rough few weeks.
Yeah, it's the opposite effect of, for example, Staz, who had a rough opening and managed to pick it really up towards the end. Dawn just has let it slip a little bit. And Dawn, your highly respected player, will be, I imagine, extremely disappointed if he does not make top 3 this season, because he had it for so long. And then to just let it slip at the end must be one of the most frustrating things.
Love this play from Blood Trail as well. I think that playing obviously playing the Spring Pour on 1 does not seem particularly good, because it's very likely to just get pinged. I suppose it stops a Sorcerer's Apprentice from coming down. But this play of going for double 1-drop here means that into turn 3, he has the potential of coin Dire Frenzy the vast majority of the time. Love it.
It's looking pretty good. Dawn, Arcane Intellect on 3 never feels bad, if I'm honest, but when you just have the minions already on board for Blood Trail, look at and this is just what you do. I've said this a million times, right? But it's true. As Hunter in this matchup, push damage early, and you can often just end the game, and there's not a lot the mage can do about it a little bit later on. So pushing this damage now feels good. There's a 2nd Dire Frenzy as well to push extra damage next turn, and Dawn has to do something quick to survive. Luckily, that mirror image is actually pretty sick.
Oh, it's so close. Just looking at the discrete numbers that blitzchung has available, going from Master's Call into the buffed up Spring Pour does not quite get him there in terms of the damage he would need to do. That does, though. That gets him there handily. That's a huge draw, actually. That's absolutely massive. Because for Dawn, I have to be honest, I wasn't expecting the Luna play to come down. He went for it very quickly. When I was looking at AI Ray of Frost, I think that actually might have led to an overdraw, so maybe that was just bad. But either way, it was a very quick play he went for.
And this is the problem, isn't it? Like, cool, Donk and Nova, but so what? Like, the Nova's not going to be enough, so it has to be a ping as well on this Timberwolf because it's just too much damage. But then Blood Trail's like, cool.
He can just Dire Frenzy again. He doesn't even need to Master's Call.
I think he could just Rhino.
Whoa.
Like, what does Dawn do against a Rhino?
Fair.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And then Dawn's next turn, sorry, Blood Trail's next turn, Master's Call with a Rhino on board, probably? It's just insane.
Dawn's just getting beaten up.
That's a good one, though.
That changes things, though.
With the Khadgar,
That's
too.
a huge draw. Khadgar, the Frost Nova, and the Giant all in one turn.
Hold the phone.
This is a game. I almost forgot that he's Mage for a second. I almost forgot. I was like, wait a second. Mage is disgusting. It can do everything.
We were deceived for about 3 minutes, and then we're back to normal of going, oh, yeah, Mage. Still, though, Blood Trail has access to some pretty crazy turns himself, even with the board frozen, because this Rhino's still doing his work. Oh, Wing Blast. Not bad.
Bomb Toss goes face.
Yes.
Yeah, which I think is honestly something that could have led him to go there. I agree that 1 mana deal 4 damage.
Yeah, it does too much.
Probably necessary. Yeah.
Well, I think my question is, does 1 mana deal 4 damage actually open up more face damage than a bomb toss? And I think it does most of the time.
Or at least equal.
Yes, yeah. At least equal, maybe more. Ooh, big bad Archmage.
That obviously means that it fills up the board space anyway, but with obviously a minion that is on average worse than a 10 drop, so he could still go for it again. Yeah. And I think I like it. You just want to get as much damage on board as possible.
Here, though, even just Tundra Rhino killing one of these minions actually opens up the Wing Blast as well.
It does.
Oh, let's see if there's something else.
This is slow stuff, though, from Blood Trail. Even with 1 mana deal 4 damage, he can't get through. He can't get through all of these. Unless he finds the second Timberwolf.
Yeah, I think Master's Call, worst case into Animal Companion, you can still Wing Blast.
Yeah.
Which is big. Which is big. Because right now, Blood Trail needs to just push damage and hope.
That is a
he can't trade.
Find there.
Obviously,
he
can trade with the taunts. But he can't. His plan is to try and kill Dawn quicker now than Dawn return kills him.
So, Timberwolf into Spring Pour into Hero Power. Would he rather fit in? He could fit in the Wing Blast and the extra 1-drop is maybe better. Because he wants to connect as much of these minions that can go face to face as possible.
Yeah. If he...
Oh, we can go 1-drop, 1-drop Wing Blast, which allows him to kill off either of the 8 drops. The 8 attack minions, sorry. Because he could rush in the Lynx and then Spring Pour and the Wing Blast can kill off an 8/8. Okay. I guess this is fine.
His first spellcast is pretty important for Dawn. Choosing where he wants to. Does he value saving as much mana as possible, or does he value the flexibility? Because he can play Pocket Galaxy, then he can Magic Trick maybe into card draw. But if he doesn't, then that Pocket Galaxy was kind of just a waste. Cinderstorm, pretty nice.
Does he have? He never has lethal, right? He has 16, 20, 23, 25, 26. He had a lot of damage there.
I think if the Banana Buffoons had been played, he might have. If he had actually had the bananas in hand this turn.
If he had the mana to play both Banana Buffoons and all the bananas, it was exactly, or one of them. But yes, it wasn't lethal, so you go for the defensive option and set it up for next time. Frost Nova. Oh, wow, that's not bad.
Probably going to see a ping on that Direwolf, the Timberwolf, to be honest.
Probably, yeah. I like it. This just sets up very easily lethal next turn, as long as he does not die. And I guess then that is the big question. Does Dawn die? If Leok is hit, and then the Lynx can go in,
and then Wing Blast can go in.
Yeah. Oh.
Kill Commando. Has to be, right?
It's still just not there, though. I mean, it has to be, yeah. Oh, the worst one. Or is it? No, that never protects it. That never stops it.
The good thing is Kill Command Wing Blast kills an 8/8.
That's true. Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
He's still dead, though.
He's
He's not, because of Misha.
I mean, he knows that there's a Conjurer's Calling in hand, though, right? So the Misha can just be Conjurers.
Quickly.
Might be conjured into taunts.
Yes, that's the only out here for Dawn, I think. And I think Dawn can even play around that, right? He just has lethal. Yeah, he doesn't even have to do that with the bananas. Yeah. It's just lethal. There's no RNG here. Dawn taking the victory after what, I have to be honest, looked like a devastatingly strong start for Blood Trail. It all goes awry.
And look at already the impact and how important this match is to these players. Dawn's just like,
yeah,
one game, okay. One step closer, one more game, and Dawn locks in his position to playoffs next weekend. One more, that's all he needs. But you can see quite easily there how much Dawn could have just lost that game. Like, it wasn't like, oh, Dawn just stomped game one, let's go game two. Like, Blood Trail could have easily took that game. A couple of his draws weren't quite as aggressive as they needed to be, and some very nicely timed freezes just negated so much damage, as is often the case with the Mage. But that's just game number one. Let's see if Dawn can cement his position top three, or if Blood Trail's going to fight back right after this.
What's up, Hearthstone fans? Welcome back to another episode of The Curve, where we draw the biggest headlines from this past weekend on Curve. I'm your host, Simon Sottle-Welch. Let's do this. Last week, in the Asia-Pacific region, Alutemu was on top of the division and was almost locked in for a guaranteed playoff spot. Unfortunately, his 2 losses this weekend not only put his playoff spot in jeopardy, but also allowed the rest of his division peers to further complicate the postseason picture. In the current standings for Division A, all of the players except for Chiansu can now vie for the top 3 spots. In Division B, Shaxi's back-to-back wins clinched him a spot in the playoffs. Dawn and Glory are close to clinching as well, but will have to finish strong to secure their fate. After a shaky 3-4 start to Grandmasters, reigning world champion Hunter Ace has rattled off 5 consecutive match wins, securing himself first place in the Division B standings heading into the final week of Season 1. This past weekend, he avenged 2 of his losses from earlier in the season by besting fellow former world champion Pavel, as well as Psycho, who fell to 2nd place in Division B. Over in Division A, close friends and practice partners Viper and Bunny Hopper faced off in a crucial match. Bunny Hopper won the series, setting both players' match records to 7-5. A clear 3-horse race for the 2 remaining Division A playoff spots alongside Finomino has formed between the 2 German players and Calento, who sits at 8-4 after a tough loss to Silvername. Teammates Frozen and Dog both beat a Warrior and a Mage with a Rogue this weekend. They're both sitting on top of their division, and they have both clinched a spot in the playoffs. It's a good time to be a fan of Team Liquid in the Americas region. Both Liquid players were able to assert their dominance through good meta reads and some simply outstanding rogue play. The rest of the playoff picture in the Americas region is starting to fill out, as Eddie also secured his spot in Division A, while in Division B, Monsanto is in a good position to secure one of the 2 remaining spots. In China, the inaugural GTC champions were crowned in the first week of June. Right before the Masters Tour in Las Vegas, Team Lucky Future won their double elimination tournament to end the first season. Team LF didn't drop a single series and beat tournament favorite Team World Elite once in the winners round and once in the grand finals to earn their trophy. In this week's meta moment, we have to highlight Team Liquid's Rogue. Both Liquid players, Dog and Frozen, played their decks exceptionally and were able to win in unfavored matchups. With a combination of countless resource generators paired with consistent lackey and treasure pressure, the deck seemed to have an answer for every situation, while also packing an immense amount of burst potential. If you missed any of the Grandmasters action, you can check out the VODs on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports. Grandmasters resumes this weekend, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That's it for us. We'll see you in the tavern.
We're continuing the series between Dawn and Blood Trail, and what an impactful one it's going to be, regardless of the outcome. Let's take a look at the deck changes, or deck change, as they say, as it's just Dawn going to be switching to that tertiary deck. So removing some of the slower late game cards and getting Snip Snap, 2 halftime scavengers, and the Rabble Bouncers. This is a very solid change versus Hunter, in my opinion.
I agree, for the most part, at the very least. I am falling more and more into the camp of players. Well, more players seem to be falling into. I remember Hunter was talking about it in particular quite early on, which is just, he just doesn't like substituting out too many cards. Cards are good. They're in there for a reason. You want them. But I guess, you know, if he's not running great anti-aggro cards like Halftime Scavenger and Rabble Bouncer, I'd be sad to see those go as well. So I think for Dawn, he's done a good job of leaving in all the key cards that have to be in there. The only one I'm really sad to see is like Stargazer Luna. I think that's just a pretty cool card in Mage.
Yeah, I guess so. If you consider, if you play Snip Snap as Stargazer Luna, they do sometimes similar jobs versus aggro.
That's fair.
Just having an early game body you can play that soaks some damage, like, because often against aggro, Luna does not draw you any or many cards, right?
Well, I think against specifically Hunter, where they have Kill Command and Mark Shot in particular to be able to kill it off, it's unlikely to be that good early on. And if you're not playing Luna's Pocket Galaxy in the deck, Luna gets less powerful. So it makes sense to me. And I think all the cards that are being substituted in are very strong.
Yeah, and as we said, Dawn is 1-0 up. He did just win the previous game, and it looked close. It looked like that was going to be a steamroll for a second. But Blood Trail will be doing his best to fight back, because this is effectively more or less tournament life for these players.
Yes, for Blood Trail it is 100%. Also, if Dawn wins this series, Tyler is... Oh, does Tyler want Dawn to lose or win?
I think Tyler wants Dawn to lose because he wants Blood Trail to be in contention for top 3, which means it's a 3-way tie for top 3 if Glory also wins.
Correct.
And then that means that
Tyler
wins on the tiebreaker if it's a 3-way tie.
Yes.
If it's Tyler versus Glory for a tie, Glory will win because it's head-to-head.
Right. And so if Dawn loses, Tyler is through 100%, I believe. Because either if Glory wins or loses, Tyler is still through. So Tyler is sitting here, well, I guess half an hour in the future with the delay that we have, or in the past. I never remember how that works. Hoping that Dawn does not win this series. Not that he's out if he does, but it gets a bit more complicated.
Yeah, then he's affected by the next match instead of this match. But already now, just Dawn going off on just a pretty early Cyclone, just getting a little bit of value there. That Cone of Cold looking okay. And yeah, what do you make of this early play, actually?
Sorry, I was just thinking about tiebreakers again, because if Blood Trail wins and Dawn loses, it goes up to 8. No, that is good. Yes, sorry. Yeah, we're correct. Sorry.
So what do you think about this Cyclone play as you come back to us?
I think that in the against these kind of matchups, simply the fact of having a 2-2 on board is so important. Just the fact that it's getting value traded here, fine. Ping it on. That's perfect. And I think that these kind of plays are what separate the reasonable from the good, or even the great Mana Cyclone Mage players.
Yeah, and what you've got to look at as well is, yes, it was traded off. It cost Blood Trail a Timberwolf in this circumstance, and one Timberwolf going away this early in the game is a big deal, because Timberwolf sometimes is 1-mana kill command, which is a good card, believe it or not. So having one just gone out of the way and it's not pushed tons of damage is pretty high. Revenge of the Wild. I think with the Deadly Shot in hand, you know, I think Revenge might be better.
It's really close, actually. I was going to say Snap Deadly Shot, but Unleash Revenge is usually pretty good against Mage. The problem is that when Unleash is at its best is when they play Mirror Image, and at that point the dogs aren't dying. So the Revenge of the Wild gets worse anyway. So I think, because of how specifically Unleash the Hounds interacts against Mage, I like the Deadly Shot. But I agree it was close.
Yeah, well, Deadly Shot can get some nice work done now, or not, as Bloodchild choosing to use the time to Master's Call. And this 3-5, yes, it can swing, but if there's nothing to overkill, then it's not it's not pushing Dawn further away from losing, it's just dealing 3 damage to Bloodchild, which he can take. If Dawn even chooses to remove it from stealth this turn, he might just leave it there. It's one of the few minions in the game that has perma-stealth, right?
I think if he goes wide on board, he could consider it leaving it stealth, right? Because then it's not vulnerable to Deadly Shot. But if it's the only minion in play... Actually, it dies to Unleash the Beast if he unstealths it on curve. So maybe we'll just leave it there.
You know what card I miss? Shade of Naxxramas.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
3 mana 2/2, gain +1/+1 at the end of each turn.
Yeah.
Start of each turn with stealth, yes. But that
card was cool.
Did it see play in anything other than Druid?
Probably. Oh, did people playing Rogue at one point?
Maybe.
I think it might have seen a sprinkling of Rogue.
Do you remember the old discussions of, is it coin growth into Shade of Naxxramas, or is it just coin Shade of Naxxramas on 2? Which is better? Do you play the growth on 2?
It gets a +1/+1.
Yeah. Innovate Shade of Naxxramas. GG.
The main conversation it got very quickly to was, when do you swing it? Are people too
Oh,
greedy with it or not too
always.
greedy with it?
When do you swing it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you save it for turn 9 for Force of Nature into Savage Roll? How early do you have to get it down to VT on the Drake?
No one said VT back in those days.
No one did, yeah. Oh, simpler times.
I wonder.
Now though, this Rhino, as always, demands respect from opponents, saying if you do not kill me now,
Big time.
ooh, you'll be sorry.
And, you know, Dawn, I was going to say, like, you know, luckily he doesn't have a Conjurer's Calling in hand, so he won't go for that instead. Obviously, he can still make the play of killing it off, which he probably will do, as we see.
I like this play a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Because even with the trade on board, the Deadly Shot is still 50-50 at best.
Wow, he still leaves the Scavenger stealthed.
I like it.
Really?
Yeah. Because then it makes Deadly Shot 50-50 every time, right?
Every time. Okay, yeah.
I mean, now double Deadly Shot's pretty sweet anyway, whatever. But, you know, you can't do much against double. Yeah, there you go. Dawn's like,
Yeah.
because the problem is if he trades it, then just like kill command Deadly Shot guarantees. Like more things, like Mark Shot, Deadly Shot guarantees.
Far from over, though, for Dawn in this position, because while Bloodtrail has got himself a very strong mid-game plan as opposed to his aggressive early-game plan last game, Dawn has strong follow-up. Doesn't have Giants as of yet, but Mirror Image, bunch of cheap spells, Mana Cyclone, he can have a complete duo. But he's going to have to get that rolling pretty quick.
This is nice. This is a sick turn.
This is a very sick turn, I agree.
I would, if this was me, I would be happy if I made this turn.
And for Raven, whew, that is high praise.
Yes. As a hunter player, yes. I guess Ziliax and Conjurer's Calling wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, he really, really, really wants to be able to play Ray of Frost on the same turn.
Oh, he's conjuring Ziliax? Oh, I thought it was going to go the other way.
Conjuring the,
Yeah.
the hyena.
That's a
no,
7/4.
No. 2 5-drops. This is way better.
5 drops, are they that good, 5 drops?
Yes.
No, I don't
This is
believe you.
way better.
I don't think 5 drops
Way
are that
better.
good.
They don't even have to be that good.
What I was going to say is he could afford to have actually freeze and maybe do something later, but he did go for this instead. And this does mean you can get more value from freeze later on, of course.
Yes.
But there's a few worlds where he just gets smacked for 7, at least.
And this could be one of those worlds.
Unleash, kill, command.
Well, Unleash Scalehide takes out the Rusty Recycler. Unleash double Spring Ball. Oh, you're looking at Dire Frenzy. I mean, there's a lot of good options here, right?
I feel like Dire Frenzy is the card that pushes the deck over the edge.
It's got to be. It's got to be Spring Ball, right?
I guess with the
look at
Timberwolves
this.
down. I don't know if I like not doing something to push damage to face.
Yeah,
here.
he's sacrificing a lot of face damage to protect the health, I suppose, on the I think, well, he misses 11 damage face.
Oh, I mean,
That hurts.
what if he never gets to swing with that hyena ever again? I mean, I guess that's the problem anyway.
Dawn showed difficulty killing it off last turn, but Blood Trail knows there's a Conjurer's Calling in hand. Yeah, maybe the damage face was just better. I think it probably was. It's close though.
Is it?
But do you think it was an easy face block?
Yeah, I play too aggressive in general, so that's fine. But the problem is, it's not just Conjurers. It's any of the freezes are a problem. And then, oh, I don't know. This turn's
insane.
It's a lot of damage being missed, isn't it?
Dawn's in such a good spot now.
Like what? Look at this hand. It's why I'm not shouting for it last turn.
Right.
But while I was mentioning that Dire Frenzy really pulls the deck together, in that the draws become stronger. But look at Blood Trail's hand, and look at Dawn's health. Do some quick maths, and it doesn't quite add up.
Yeah. And I suppose he'd just seen Ziliax as well, so surprise healing was out of the equation.
Look, obviously this has gone even worse for Blood Trail because of the power of Dawn's turn.
Yeah.
But I'm just, in general, like, that is so much damage.
It was tough. It was tough because he's basically sacrificing his hyena at that point if he does do that. And so, you know, the turn that Dawn would have gone for would very likely still have led to a win. But of course, Blood Trail does not know that the power level for his turn is so ridiculous. And to be fair, Dawn does not actually have that. He doesn't have any meat for this. Like, this is a lot of condiments. He needs some actual filling.
Oh,
to
there's
this
some fish. Will that do?
That'll do. There's some War Machine as well. Would you like that in your sandwich?
No, that's just what it's cooked on.
Cooked on the Demolisher. Smoky. But the thing is for Dawn, like, this hand only stays bad for so long. The second he picks up one decent minion,
He can just conjure that Demolisher next turn.
Yep.
Like,
fine.
whatever.
That's fantastic.
The 18th Unleash of the day.
Obviously, it's
unleash.
vaporized, right? Which Blood Trail does not know.
About to find
Going
out.
face never gets there, though, right? He just, I mean, he has to find
Well,
Zul'jin.
hey,
Zul'jin is
well, yeah, I was going to say, the face is fine because he works out the secret.
Yep.
He could also just trade Deadly Shot, Deadly Shot.
I think you trade as much as possible, right? Because you're never getting there through face damage.
Yeah, and I think just double Deadly Shot.
Yeah. No, I don't think you can go double deadly shot,
I think
right?
just remove it all. What if you draw Zul'jin next turn? You'll have double Deadly Shot in the pool.
Yeah, that's actually quite valid.
I'm just saying, you need to do silly things, is I think a point we agree on. In that you need to just set up for Zul'jin happening.
I think still that Deadly Shot's too good to hold on to, because it can buy you so much time in the universe where you don't draw Zul'jin next card. But I mean, Blood Trail's only got 4 cards left in the deck. Does he still have Zul'jin? He didn't track over it, did he?
No, if he did, I
That
would
was
have been
last
upset
game.
and I would
I
have
think that was last game. Yeah.
Okay, so Blood Trail literally just needs to draw Zul'jin. And that only gives him a chance.
Yes.
That does not give him the win, it gives him a chance. Conjures this buffoon. Do you think it's funny that it's called buffoon?
Oh, what, because it buffs?
Yeah.
I've never thought of that before.
Maybe that's just the name in Hearthstone lore of someone that buffs for a job.
Yeah, I'm a buffoon.
Yeah, professional buffoon. Oh, okay, sick.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
I'll be on my team.
come from a long line of buffoons.
And
My
also,
father was a buffoon.
Derek's favourite combo ever.
What? Oh, yeah. This combo is sick. Paragon of Light is just way up there in my favourite cards. Like, there's Paragon of Light, there's like Kragwa, which is one of my favourite cards at the moment.
I love Kragwa.
I can't even remember what else I like. Blood Trail does not like Paragon of Light.
See, I'm sure since the art change, that Deadly Shot's just not as deadly anymore.
They made it less deadly in its artwork because it was a bit too violent, and less deadly, it doesn't kill anything.
Yeah, it feels like it. I've seen very underwhelming Deadly Shots. Told you, it's a Stormtrooper man in that thing now.
Yeah.
Look at this, just a hard cast Rabble Bouncer.
Yeah.
And it's still good, and still almost certainly game winning.
Paying 7 mana for a 7 mana
Trail.
minion. Imagine that.
It's not bad. Wow, Zul'jin bottom of the deck. More, may as well be, not strictly, but may as well be. And
I'm-
that's going to be well played. And that's going to be a concede. Dawn cements his position in top 3.
Yeah.
He's going to take that second place, and you can just see it straight away, just the relief, because Grandmasters has been going on for the best part of 8 weeks now, and all the work paying off and giving you a shot at the global finals, which is equivalent, yes, I'm calling it global finals, that's what it's called, but equivalent to the world championships from previous years. So now it's effectively open a spot to a championship, which Dawn needs to do well in to get there into the finals. That's going to be a big, big deal. And Dawn must be feeling fantastic right about now.
think
I wish I could speak Korean to interview him.
I think he's just feeling relief more than anything else, because taking loss after loss in the second half of Grandmasters, or season 1 of Grandmasters for him, he must have just been thinking like, oh god, it's destined to happen, right? Like, I was gonna have a strong start and I'm just not gonna make it.
I've spoken about this many times. Like, chain losing in a tournament or in a league like this must be mentally devastating, because you start to just think, there's nothing I can do. I just keep losing. Especially when sometimes you lose and it's just not your fault. You just lose the game. That's just the way it is. But I think that the mental pressure that these players are under when they have lost streaks must be absurd. But, you know, I'm happy for Dawn to get that win and to get his spot in the top 3 of his Division B. But we are going to set up the next match and get it cooking as quickly as possible. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.